In the last video, I talked to you about factoring with the greatest common factor and also factoring by grouping. In this video, I'm going to try to go over the second two rules for factoring, called using the sum product rule and by splitting the middle. These names are just kind of, let's say, anchors to help you remember a process for factoring. And when we finish learning all of them, I'm going to try and give you a sense of what order you might try and apply them in to help you become more efficient with factoring problems so they don't take very long. The sum product rule helps you factor an expression with three terms where the coefficient of x squared, meaning the number that we're multiplying by x squared, is 1. Often, this means you won't see anything there because usually when the coefficient of a variable is 1, we don't write it. So to factor an expression where the coefficient of x squared is 1, that has the form x squared plus bx plus c, where b and c are actually going to be numbers in the expressions we factor. So I'll put an example over here. X squared plus 7x plus 12. To factor an expression like this, we need to look for two numbers, m and n, that add to b and that multiply to c. Let's think of the two numbers that add to 7, that multiply to 12. Well, I'm going to start with the numbers that multiply to 12. I'm going to say 1 times 12 multiplies to 12, but 1 plus 12 doesn't add up to 7. 2 times 6 multiplies to 12, and 2 plus 6 is getting closer. It equals 8. Well, 3 times 4 multiplies to 12, and 3 plus 4 adds to 7. So 3 and 4 are the two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7. When we find our two numbers, our formula for the factored form is x plus m times x plus n. Again, notice how this is factored because this expression now, x squared plus bx plus c, is written as a multiplication problem. One factor times the other. In the example, to factor x squared plus 7x plus 12, once I've found the two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7, I can use those where m and n are. X plus 3 times x plus 4. Well, to check my factor, I'm going to see if x plus 3 times x plus 4 equals x squared plus 7x plus 12. When I multiply, I have to multiply each term here by each term here. So x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 4 is 12. These two are like terms, so I end up with x squared plus 7x plus 12, which is what I started with. So I know my factored form is equal. So I've factored x squared plus 7x plus 12 to x plus 3 times x plus 4. Let's do another example. To factor this expression, I need to find two numbers that multiply to 2 and add to negative 3. Well, before I start guessing, it might help for me to kind of think a little bit about what m and n have to be, if they're positive or negative. Since they multiply to a positive, they need to both either be positive or both negative. So they need to have the same sign. And since they add to a negative, that means they have to both be negatives, because two positives wouldn't ever add to negative 3. So they're the same sign and they're negative. So what are the ways I can multiply to get 2? Well, I can multiply 1 and 2. Oh, but they both need to be negative, so I guess negative 1 times negative 2. And I think that's it, and that adds to negative 3. Okay, so those are the two numbers. So to factor x squared minus 3x plus 2, I'm going to have x plus negative 2, or just x minus 2, times x minus 1. That's my factored form. I'm done. Let's try another one. To factor x squared minus 5x minus 14, again, I need to find the two numbers that multiply to negative 14 and add to negative 5. Well, again, let's think about the numbers. If they multiply to make a negative, then they have to be different. They have to have different signs. And if they add to a negative, that means the negative has to be bigger than the positive. So the negative is the bigger number. All right. Well, that helps me choose my numbers. If I wanted to multiply to get negative 14, I could do negative 1 times 14. Oh wait, I said the negative was bigger. So I guess that'd have to be positive 1 times negative 14. Or 2 and 7, they'll multiply to negative 14 also, and the negative is bigger. So 7 would have to be the negative. And one of these hopefully adds up to negative 5, and that is this one. So to factor x squared minus 5x minus 14, I get x minus 7 times x plus 2. I'm going to go ahead and check this in my head just by multiplying back. X minus 7 times x plus 2. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is positive 2x. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. When I add those two together, I'll get negative 5x. And negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. So I got the right answer. That's the basics for factoring with the sum product rule.